This is Alex from First Figures.
Hey there everyone, this is Chuckles.
Who do we have here? Metroid Prime's Meta Ridley! Let's just be very clear. This is, without a shadow of a doubt, the tallest figure we have ever made. In the history of histories.
It's the first time I have to go like that.
Look at the height on this. Ooh. And I still can't reach the top of that. That is quite the height. And always whenever we are making dragons, we've made a few dragons. Yeah. I mean, we have the famous purple dragon here. Of course, we've also been doing Spyro, but this is really quite something in terms of the wingspan and the height and overall. Look at the presence this thing has. It's unbelievable. Let's give it a bit of a turn. Absolutely stunning. I mean, I'm a bit concerned as it comes towards me. Fortunately, I'm short.
That's fine.
I'll be a little bit. Oh, it's a sunshade over here. Yeah. And I mean, spoiler alert, the beautiful translucentness of the wings itself. You can really be sort of see close up as it goes over my head. Yeah. Unbelievable. So guys, I just want to say thank you very much for joining us. This is one of our making of documentaries, and we do this for absolutely all of our upcoming pieces, don't we, Jocks?
All the product launches. So so it's a lot of content, making of documentary. Basically, if you are in our collectors club, First Figures official collectors club. If not, do join.
You can find that on Facebook.
Make sure you're in there, and every time we do a launch, we make a post in there asking you guys if you've got any questions for us, and we'll go through some of the questions and some of the processes and how we got to where we are now. So there's going to be a lot of content in this video.
Absolutely. So do like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Make sure if you're interested in these types of documentaries, do check out our other ones.
If you want to stay up to date with the latest information, make sure you sign up to our newsletters, our social media platforms. There you will get all the information about the products.
I'm sorry, it's just like, it's raining outside and I figured I could why not take Meta Ridley along as an umbrella?
Right. This is actually quite good because usually we're in the bright studio, with the glaring lights, and this is quite a nice kind of a blocker.
Unbelievable, but let's just be clear. Meta Ridley means absolute business. He is looking absolutely ferocious, and he has all of the hallmarks, traits of what he actually looks like, and hopefully you guys agree. There is again, I get distracted by this wing. I just got a bit of echo as I hit the wing and it hit me back, but absolutely. All right, Chucks, stop me, save me from myself, please.
All right, guys.
Have we got some questions?
Yes, definitely. We've got quite a few questions here. First one. From Brendan Rostello, what made you choose Meta Ridley first instead of classic Ridley?
That's a really great question. Now, that really sort of goes back to the time when we've actually, let's revisit a little bit of our Metroid history in terms of some of the products that we've made in the past. Well, the first pieces that we actually made was from the original Metroid Prime, and we made a Samus Varia suit, Gravity suit, and a Phazon suit, and we made those quite a bit smaller, and those were the first ones that we made, and they were of course in Metroid Prime. And subsequently we then made two gunships, and one was from the Metroid Prime gunship and the Metroid Prime 2 gunship, both of which have a very elegant design. If you haven't seen them, make sure you do check them out. Now, we then subsequently made a 1/4 scale Samus Varia suit for Metroid Prime 2. Now, so what you could say is our history of making items from the Metroid series actually has been from Metroid Prime, be that 1 or 2. So far, we've only really sort of done that. Now, we actually made Meta Ridley quite a while ago, and it was at the time when we were still doing Metroid Prime, the original small series, the ones that we did way back when. And as you'll see, we'll do some comparison shots later on, you'll find that actually this Meta Ridley scales perfectly with the Samus Varia suit to scale. Now, in case you don't know, Meta Ridley is significantly bigger than the original Varia, bigger than Samus just generally. and we really wanted to make sure that those two pieces were in scale. And here we are. When we said we were going to go for it, we really did, and you will find that they are to scale. So, knowing that we were going to do Metroid Prime, we already did the Metroid Prime Varia suit, and then we wanted to have Meta Ridley to scale. It made sense to do Meta Ridley and not the original the original Ridley, which you have from the original Nintendo times, on the earlier consoles. So the Ridley back then, of course, he's a purple organic dragon, space dragon. Now, of course, in Metroid Prime, he is now reinvented. He gets resurrected quite a few times, and this is the cybernetic Meta Ridley, which has little indications of the organicness of him that he had from his original days. But mainly, he's machine. He's obviously meta. He's got the roboticness to him. So, for us, when Brendan is asking why did we choose to use Meta, I think the answer is quite simple. We wanted to make sure it was to scale with something that we had already made, so it made sense for us to have a Meta Ridley from Prime, and therefore have the Varia suit that we also made from the Prime, from original Metroid Prime, to actually have that to scale. And again, we sort of designed it at the same time, to be honest with you. This has been a long time ago, and I think also it's to make something on this scale and this sort of engineering wise. I'm glad that we waited for now, because I would have been concerned probably earlier on in our development, sort of in our experience levels, to take on such a beast. But now, hey, this is what we do, and we have the confidence to be making this piece now. But I would have been, it's hard to sort of say how it was before, but probably I would have felt a little less confident that we could do it the way that we can do it now. Sure, so it was a no-brainer that it was going to be Meta Ridley. And also, could you also argue that Meta Ridley is more popular than the original Ridley? You could argue that the Metroid Prime series itself had probably a bigger exposure. At least maybe for, I don't know, you could make arguments for both cases. But having already made the Metroid Prime Varia suits and the phase on the gravity, it really made sense to have it in this scale. And also because, we had made quite a few of those. I know it was a long time ago that we made them, but we did make, in terms of that scale, sort of 2,000-3,000 pieces, maybe 3 or 4 even. So the chance that other people who collectors already have that in their collection of those Varia suits, you will find that this fits in perfectly. Now, if you don't have that in your collection, the Varia suits, still just an awesome Metroid piece. And if you're a fan of Metroid, this is something that you can't really sort of ignore. It's just such an important part of the lore. OG Ridley took out Samus's parents. It's you gotta pay attention to someone like that. Hope that's answered that question. It's a bit of a long-winded one.
It's a history lesson for those that have
right.
It's kind of a nice reminder for those that purchased the
original ones, and also
it's been quite a while, so it's a nice little reminder.
And it's also been a long time since we actually done anything in the Metroid series, and the last one was the Varia suit from Metroid Prime 2, and that was over 2.5 years ago, or something like that. So, hey, that's where we are now.
Yeah. Right, next question from Mark Johnston. Ridley has been in production for a long time, which you just explained. What was the most challenging element of his design creation?
Right. Absolutely. It has been in the development for a long time, although there was a bit of a pause as we sort of developed our skills and what have you. But the most challenging aspect of this was, no doubt, the overall how to get that sense of motion in the pose. And the pose itself is really dynamic. It has this beautiful flowing motion to his whole body, from his face, from his mouth, all the way going down his body, down to the tail, and it has these beautiful lines and curves, and really sort of gets that the sort of captures his aggressiveness, the way he's flying around and how ferocious he is. I can remember playing the games, when you first meet him, and the fight and the boss fight is just wanted to recreate that. And the way that the mouth is open, you can almost hear that screech that he had. Not a voice actor. And wanted to be able to capture that. So definitely, I would say that this was one of the most challenging parts of that. Patrox, you want to talk a little bit about that pose and what you're seeing from that?
Yeah, I mean,
how did we convey the sense of speed, the sense of flow, the sense of aggressiveness, the flow of all of that? How did we incorporate that in both the pose, and then we can talk a little bit about the details as well, because there's details for days as well. Yeah,
I'm just trying to remember exactly. You were just reminding guys here that this has been in development for a long time, and to do it now, I was thinking, what would it be like if you were to do it then and do it now? You know, with the improvements in technology and engineering, is I can imagine this would have been so much different back then, compared to now. But that's a good topic. You guys should ask that in the Collectors Club. So for this pose, I mean, immediately if you were to look from behind, you can see how it's angled, and the way, if you look at it from this side, you can immediately see that it's lunging forward, you know, with aggression, especially with that expression that he has.
There's a lunging feeling. There's also a sense of gliding as he comes to swoop towards you, right?
Yeah, and then with the wings much closer, you know, as though he's coming at an angle.
Right.
That's why with the angle of the poses is where it's at now.
And we also considered that as well when you consider the movement of the arms. If you're not that I'm a bird, but if you're a bird or a dragon, the way you can imagine it, if you're kind of tilting your arms, will kind of have you moving in that direction. So if you look at the way that Meta Ridley is, he's looking to the left, and his arms are tilted to the left, so you know he's not
tilted,
going to the right.
You can see that the left arm is pulled back, and the right arm is just about kind of it's ready for the slash.
It's ready for the
slash attack. Yeah. So it's definitely.
Because this arm is not ready to slash. This arm is just chilling, right?
It's like kind of like
this one on the right hand side is ready for the swipe. And in fact, if we can, let me see if I can do this. Turn it the other way. It's probably better. Is the way that
the motion is going this way. So you can see if you were his sight is on this side. You can, with the head going that way, is ready to attack that way.
Absolutely right. So you can see that there's going to be, as it comes around the screen, you'll see he's seeing Samus over here to the left of him, and then he's turning around and coming down for the slash here, and that's the pose that we wanted to portray in that. You absolutely nailed that right. So if we start from the wings upwards, and let's just focus on the pose again. You were right in saying that the way that you can sort of glide down, it's almost like it's a kind of hard fall, that he's coming down and swooping down rather than a sort of a steady glide. And that's with if your wings are more like this, I guess you would kind of glide a little bit more forward, and if you go like that, you're more like dropping down as well. So we really did consider the space of the arms, of the wings, I should say. Now, we considered that there was quite a significant foot traffic, I should say, or in terms of having to display that, it's going to be pretty tough. Which is why we actually made this one a little bit more vertical, because most people have vertical height is okay
for like displays. Right?
Displays, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, that's what I meant.
The top of the shelf. Yeah.
The top of the shelf, right? And that's also actually works out well if you put Meta Ridley up quite high. The fact that his head is looking down as well helps to really give that, and I kind of guess it makes sense as well with a flying kind of creature like that to have it sort of higher up as well. You get to see the teeth, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. That's the reason why we have this one going a little bit more vertical and this one slightly coming out as well. We didn't want them both to be perfectly vertical, it would look a little bit weird. So we had to have them opened up a little bit. But that's a full extension of the wings. There is no ifs or buts. It's not in the middle of it's not bending down or anything like that. It's fully extended, and what a wingspan that is. Now I'm sure you've got some measurements for me later on, Jocks, but I'm scared. I don't even know if we have enough cans in the can test. I'll have to check that out later on. So it is really quite a showstopper, to be honest with you. If you're a Metroid fan and you want showstoppers, right over here. So let's talk about the neck, the body, the legs. How do we talk a bit about the arms?
Yeah. So like exactly. I mean, just to continue with the action pose, you can tell with the body is kind of twisted as well. So the head is twisted, facing to the left, and the upper torso is kind of twisted, approaching at that angle, and then with the tail kind of going outwards and then curling back towards it. It seems like a double attack. So it's going to slash with the right arm, and then kind of like if like a bird is like to dive in and then swoop away, that tail could essentially be used as another attack.
Sure.
To me, it looks like that. Yeah. So.
And you can talk about how, if you look carefully, especially you really see it from the back. You talked a little bit about the twisting motion to the left of the body. Well, you really see that the hips are going in this direction, but the body's going the others, and you can see the movement over here. If you look over here, that it has a really sharp angle where it kind of comes round. To have that sort of the curvature in the spine. It's always like that when you're dealing with something that is not real, that it's not really. Obviously, you're not going to walk down the street and see a Meta Ridley walking down the street and go, "Hey, would you mind if I just check the back of your spine and can you just bend it?" But it kind of makes logical sense when you think about how creatures that are sort of similar as similar as you can get, to think about how if you were to move your spine, how that would look when you twist your torso or you tilt your torso, how that would actually look. So that is what we really wanted to portray in that, as you said, with the twist of the body. With the way that the tail swings around as well, we had to make sure that each piece was segmented in its own way, just like the actual character itself. But you can see that they're not segmented, they're not straight going back. There is sections, and then what I'm trying to say is each section is not bent, but the connection point is tilted very slightly. So you all of a sudden have this is one section of the tail, right? We're talking about each section of the tail.
Yeah.
If you directly have another section of the tail directly like that, and then you keep doing that, that's the section of the tail, right? But if you have this one slightly turned, and the next one slightly turned, the next one slightly turned, almost got taken out by the wing there. That is how you create this bending system where it starts off here, but each one is very slightly turned. I'm not saying I'm not saying the section itself is turned, but the connection point is turned, and that's how you could get this moving all the way around. And if you look, each section of the tail, it's nice and rigid, as you can see with the sculpt going down there, and it's very turned just a little bit to give that curvature there. So the tail is as such. How about the neck chocks and the head itself? How does it portray the sense of fear and ferocity? How does it give you fear?
Yeah, I mean the eyes and with more kind of evil-looking eyes, squinted eyes, and then the jaws and the teeth. It's at full. What do you call it? Fully opened.
Yep.
Yeah, at its widest point, and then the way the neck is like kind of like angled. It's not like straight. It's how to put it. It's like
it's bent, right?
Bent,
yeah. So it's
as to like not quite the fullest point, but
it's coming back a little bit. So I would say that the pose itself is not like he's in super speed. What he's gearing back for a slash. So he's quite close to Samus at this stage, I would say. He's not trying to get there fast. He's already at that point, and he's like almost rearing back for the slash. The neck is pulled back, ready for the slash, and the extra extension if he needs to bite or what have you. Now we talked about how the jaw is opened at its maximum openness, and we wanted to. Of course, it's open, but there is this organic skin to either side of the mouth that we wanted to make sure that was kept there. You see that, Chops?
Yeah. Like here.
Yeah, right. It's like when you open your like that, basically. So, and if you look at I think a good example would be, what would you say, a crocodile? It's a good example of that, where they would have some excess skin, or even Tyrannosaurus Rex, right? A T-Rex where you open up the mouth and they have that excess skin in between the jaws. That's the design, that's that we wanted to faithfully recreate that as well. So so obviously that was sort of done. And the legs, they're not, again, we're not talking about full speed here. So it's not like both the legs, if it was full speed, I would reckon that both the legs would be back. But because there's some sense of motion and turning mid-air, that is why we have the whole sense of motion with the turning. The left knee comes out. The left knee comes out and it allows for that left slash, that turning left slash, but we still have the speed from the right leg. Overall, it creates a fantastic composition of seeing them all together and seeing how the leg comes out and the knee comes out and the movement of the legs. Sorry, of the tail, and it gives it a sense of balance as well, Chocks, where if you're turning one way, the weight of the tail counterbalances as well. I'm not talking about the physicality of it, I'm talking about as if it was a real creature and how that would be used to counter, because the tail is used for many things, so let's say if you're looking at a cheetah or something like that, using to turn, how would they use the tail to help? I think we capture that. So shall we talk a little bit about the details itself though, Chocks? Because there is quite a lot to go through on that. Yeah. You want to start from top to bottom and see what you can pick up. Careful with your neck, right?
I mean, straight away from the actual wings. I mean, the frame, the structure, the metallic, the roboticness of like each, what do you call it? Spoke, yeah. So
yeah,
the kind of like the circular bolts that goes around on either side of the wings, and the way each one, it's not like straight, obviously, it all have curves.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then just the lines, I mean, there's loads. I mean, there's scratch marks or everything, it's like it's been through a lot of wear and tear.
So these actual lines themselves, there's actually we need to look into this. I believe that these should actually come across this way as opposed to this way, so we need to look at making some tweaks on that, right? So instead of the lines going down this way, they actually go, so if we look at this side over here, if you look from over here, they go downwards like this. Maybe just quickly pause it here. They go downwards.
Right.
I believe they should be going this way. Across. I need to just double check that. So that's something we will be looking into afterwards. But as you would talk, and that's the thing about it. If you think about how Meta Ridley was originally, of course, a dragon. Now he's this robotic dragon. It's like there is all the sort of things that you would expect to see organically is being twisted into this mechanical version of it. Because if you look at a typical dragon, you would expect there to be skin in between the spokes of the wings or the fingers of the wings, right? And that would have a really great organic look to it. But it doesn't look like that here. These have these great geometric lines with perfect spacing between each other, meaning that it's kind of like it's robotic in that kind of accuracy of that technology kind of feeling. And you have that going all the way throughout the lines, throughout each one. And again, as I said, it would have been like as if it was if it was organic skin, but we've got it looking, and it's a testament to the design that came up with, that was in the game, and it looks fantastic. And we wanted to make sure that we caught that. Okay, Jock's up to you.
Just really liking the translucent.
Right, there's a beautiful translucentness to it, and you can really see it as it hits the light, so we can see the studio lights hitting it. It looks excellent, and that was really something that was quite important to give that kind of it wasn't going to be a solid color because it would be a disservice to have it like that. And if you actually look at the actual painting itself, it's not just one color, is it, Chocks?
No. So there's definitely like dark browns and oranges as you get closer to each spoke, and then it goes into the yellows and whites, the center of each kind of webbing. Yeah.
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 You can see the white, I mean, you can really see it great on the screen right now.
definitely-
Look at the
yeah.
white streaks going throughout the lines. It looks excellent. And it's on both sides as well, isn't it, Jocks?
Yeah, both sides.
So you see that you can't have the white streak on one side and then not have the white streak on the other side in the same location. So that was something that we wanted to make sure that that was brought in through through this stage. So as we come further down the wings, now let's have a look at some of those details. I mean, you can really kind of say that the silver areas, you could say, or in fact, you could actually say it mainly for the silver areas. What do you notice on pretty much all of the silver accents across the whole thing?
Oh, the scratch marks and like that kind of metal feeling.
It's got the metal feeling, it's got the scratch marks, it's got the wear, it's got the tear. Now, we could have actually made it completely smooth with none of that, but we really wanted to say that this guy's been in a war and it would add some greater detail to it. And you'll see that it's mainly on the silvers and it's not actually on the purples, really. I mean, there's a few on the face, but majority of it, at least on the skin or what, the purples of the actual, of Meta Ridley, it doesn't really have as much as the silvers. And he's got a lot of them, Jocks.
The tip of the tail, and then on the back of the skeleton, even underneath, and then a lot of it's going to be around the claws, the feet.
Right, I'm not sure if you can actually see it on the actual camera, but when you're really looking at it close, you can really sort of see that all over. Now, let's talk about how there are the colours themselves. We talked a little about the silver, but this has a beautiful sheen to all the different colours that we have. And there are quite a few different colours in there. I mean, Jocks.
I mean, just continue with the silvers. You get obviously the black wash between each grooves, or
right.
And then around the feet areas, kind of have the kind of a champagne bronze color. Yeah, champagne around the feet. Yeah, it gives off this kind of like kind of
a dirtiness to it. Yeah,
champagne purple, kind of darker shade. And then I mean, between each section of the tail, you get the rivets, the circular rivets along the side. But underneath it, you get like kind of like a tubing, it's really hard to see from the video, but just like this bit here, this kind of thing at the tip.
So that color, right? That kind of color
and that kind of tubing effect. It goes through underneath
every single section on the underneath of
all
of it.
All the way like from here, you can see it from that, and then it comes underneath here, and it goes right underneath here.
And you can't actually see that from the front directly. I mean, let's say you're looking from. I mean, look, that section is slightly looking, but if you're just looking over here, you can't see it until you look down over here. But it's great to have extra detail that you wouldn't necessarily see the first time.
That's right, and that kind of same tubing effect you can see on the side of the thigh, in the front of the thigh here, and then the obvious one is on the back. So back of the kind of like
spine area,
spinal cord, and it goes all the way to the back, all the way to the top of the kind of like back of the shoulders. And the size is different, so it's thicker, and then it's a really smaller, thinner tubing at the back, and it kind of like splits into two tubings on the top as well.
Oh look, it's definitely got that really technology kind of robotic feeling.
It's like a mixture of like a mechanical and organic feel, because
the purple looks organic, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of like that alien muscular that we've all known. If you're in the game, if you play the game, you know how that kind of alien feeling with the kind of like each muscle has their own kind of different pattern.
Right. Absolutely. And
it's not just a solid purple. It's dark purples, lighter purples.
It's a beautiful wash going across all of it to do that as well. And you really sort of see how those colours merge together when you go into the fists and into the hands or to the claws. And you can see, like if you look down this section up into the thumb, it's like it's got a kind of like a kind of a groove that goes all the way down here, and then on the other side as well, and it covers his the bottom of, you can see it sort of goes along here, and along the front. It's kind of like protection of between
it's
the
like kind
silk.
of it's like a what do you call it? Like a silver plating.
Right.
That acts as part of his armor.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely how you can sort of say it, along with the purple of the skin, I should say. And the covering of that really looks really cool. I think I like the way that the colors really pop as a result.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Okay, so the whole idea of technology, Meta Ridley is now coming back. He's no longer organic anymore. There is tons and tons and tons of details. Now you'll see. What about the hedgehogs?
I mean, from the head, you get the kind of purple part,
section of the front.
In a way, it does look like kind of like a mask.
Right.
Yeah. And then you get more tubings around
on the side. Yeah.
And they're different type of tubing. Kind of this one's kind of a more blue.
And it's got hexagon patterns to it now. Yeah.
Yeah. And then around the neck area, it's like
it's crazy detail around the neck
it's
area,
like
right?
Pistons, like different types of vertical pipings, and you get
lots of circles throughout the whole thing. There's tons of circles everywhere.
Yeah.
So that will be hinges, right, Choc? So you look at the neck, you can see that you could tilt your head up and down. There's a reason for the circles in those locations. You see the circle on the neck hinge. You see the circles at the bottom of. There's a circle over here, right? And there's a circle up here, and there's circles on the thighs, on the hips.
Yeah, the hips.
You have the circles at the base of the tail, and then you have circles all throughout each section as well to give that movement as well. Any more circles? You spotting any more circles there? You can see circles at the almost the place where you open up the fingers of the spokes. You can see anytime there's any movement areas, it's done with circles. So there's logical thinking behind the design.
And this bit, the neck bit that attaches to the kind of the upper torso is kind of like a ball joint.
Yeah.
The way, if you had any other figures, it looks like.
Now listen, if you want to see action figures, guys, articulated Meta Ridley.
Yeah, so it's like a ball joint, so that area will be like swirling around.
Yeah.
And then, side like swivel movement, and then the circular joint at the bottom of the neck would allow it to go like that. Yeah. And these sections here, they look like sections of like bones.
Yeah.
Like bones themselves, like this neck area.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the circles themselves are also in the inner ankles.
Yeah.
They're in the inner ankles and even on the back of the feet. And maybe that's how you can independently move it, and the front of the foot, and you can have the independent feet moving, toe sections, moving those around. I don't know if that's the reason why they have the circles, or if it's just for design, but I like to think that it's all about the hinge movement. But let's just have a quick talk about that face, Choc. So let's talk about those teeth and that tongue.
Let me give a quick explanation.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, the chest areas, there's like horizontal pipings as well, and they're more of a darker kind of a rusty color. Yeah. So and then obviously you get 4 individual kind of orbs.
Yeah.
In the chest area.
Yeah. This is no doubt in my mind a very, very robotic, cyborg-esque creature here, no doubt.
Especially the back of the head as well. There's like
exhaust pipes.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they look like back of a motorbike with the exhaust pipes.
Yeah.
The different lines, and then those teeth.
Now that looks organic, right?
It does. Yeah. Inside.
If you didn't know that there was a robot there.
The lower jaw and the upper jaw as well. It's just as you would expect, like a bird. It's like a crossover, isn't it? Like a crocodile jaw with the beak.
Absolutely.
The bird's beak. So.
And if you have a look at the back of the jaw itself as well, you have the sharpness of the chin. You have a sharp horn here. You have the sharp horns on the top of the head as well. You have the spikes at the wings and at the tip of the wings over here as well. This area over here and here, and obviously his talons, his claws. The boy's there to wreck you. Let's be clear. Make no mistake. He's designed to take you out. And he took me out quite a few times. Ooh, there is, it's nice to revisit this because it's been quite a long time ago that we developed this, to go back and revisit all the details that was carried across, and it's been quite the ride. And you can also talk about the slats as well, Chuck. So you have slats at the back of the feet, like almost like vents. You can sort of see that as well, a little bit on the back as well of the head. So let off a bit of steam, I think. Whew. Well, I hope that answered Mark Johnson's question.
That's a long answer. Are we cool with this?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll come back to some more pieces.
All right, cool. All right, next question from Nana Say. What efforts did you make to try to hide the support pole? Did you consider a perch incorporated into the base instead at any point?
I think when we knew that we were going to be making a Meta Ridley, and we knew that we were going to pair it as a sort of face-off against the Samus Varia suit, which is a smaller one, which is again in a very action pose, it made sense that he was going to be in an aggressive mid-flight, and nailed it. So that's what we did, right? So it was never a consideration to actually have him sort of stationary, sitting like a bird, or just on a perched and not attacking. So when we knew that he needed to be attacking, it was going to we inevitably were going to have to deal with the fact that an attacking creature like this, that's a bird, sorry, a dragon that's in the air, is going to invariably have a pole. Now we had actually done these types of poles before in the Metroid line, so I knew it was going to be, again, especially because we had done it recently, so not recently, we designed this at the same time as we had designed the gunships, that it was going to be a pretty similar style. And if you look at and we'll do some comparisons as well, where you'll see the Metroid Prime gunship has a very, very similar design for the pole. So when you put them all together, they're going to look quite consistent. The actual thing itself, though, needed to be stable, because we knew there was going to be so much weight with the wing, with the figure itself, that it had to have quite a big surface area of the connection point, which is what we have over here. And we had previously done some designs where it actually had a ball joint that allowed you to tip it in any which way, but we felt that over time it was prone to perhaps it was going to be quite difficult to maintain that it might over time slightly fall, especially because it's got such weight to it, that I really didn't want to have to do that, if that makes sense, where we could avoid it. So we wanted to get a fixed pose, make it look cool, and then go from there. So that's what we did. The base itself, though, again, is very similar to how we did the Metroid gunships and any of this era, where it has we really wanted to make sure it had a kind of robotic look to it, and again, to complement him. So we had this gorgeous sort of dirty, goldy, kind of bronzy. I mean, you can see it's not one color, is it? There's different colors in there. I mean, overall it might just look a little bit gold, but it's not. It's got some beautiful effects in there, and tons of scratch marks all over it, again, to highlight the fact that it is Meta Ridley, and he's got all of those sharp points. And then having these great looking circles. What do we talk about the circles? There's a lot of circular design in the figure itself, and we wanted to incorporate that in the base. So the base is circular, there's lots of circles here, and again, with a highlight to Ridley, let us have the purples. Now, originally we did initially think about doing it in silver, but then overall it blended too much with Meta Ridley, so we wanted to make sure that to have the offset color, but have it still metallic. I mean, we could have gone all black, but we actually decided to make it more metallic looking. Then we had it like this, and had it with the circle designs, and to have the accents of the purple, just as a shout out to obviously his design. It wouldn't blend that way. It complements.
The kind of like robotic and the structural metal, with the straight lines, and the circulars shape.
Absolutely. Now, if you actually look at just going back to the eyes, I just wanted to sort of highlight, you know how we don't have a single yellow color for for the wings? How about the eyes?
Yeah, the same thing. It's sort of like it's darker orange, I think, with the gradient going into the whites at the bottom. So yeah, there's definitely shading in the eyes as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Cool. What's next?
All right, next question from Cody Weaver. How did you go about evaluating the structural engineering? What are some of the things you wanted to address to make sure this statue looks the same as day one for years to come?
That's a great question, and again, it was all about certain design choices. Again, we've done the Metroid Prime gunships with this board, but the Metroid Prime gunships themselves are actually quite, center of gravity is all quite focused right in the middle, and therefore it wasn't too heavy and it could be okay. Didn't want to have that for this, so we knew straight away that in order for it to remain the same from day one, is that the connection joint had to be pretty big, but also not have that ball joint. That's why you have it there at the center of gravity, right? Right at the center of gravity, and we again had that sort of design, the same sort of feeling for the Metroid gunships as well. Now, the wings themselves have this metal pole that goes all the way from going all the way through this, right? And also down these sections as well. It's basically got it's metal inside, and we definitely need to pay special attention during the drop tests and what have you to see there may be some changes. So I think we should always caveat all things moving forwards that this is predominantly resin, but there may be some aspects, some things that we may need to change. This might need to be metal, that part might need to be in PVC or resin or whatever, or ABS, depending on what it is. That's the sort of stuff that we need to address at the physical production side of things. So whilst I believe majority of this, I mean, the only reason why I mentioned that is because when we recently just done the Varia suit, the Samus Varia suit, we had made some changes to that in order for it to get the lights and all that sort of stuff, and get the tight fitting and all that sort of stuff. So whilst I don't really necessarily see that for Meta Ridley, I just like to always, for any of our videos, always sort of say there is a possibility there could be some tweaks as we improve our manufacturing design and process, but visually it should be looking sweet as. So, as I said, off the top of my head, the first one consideration is the fact that the location point is at the center of gravity. The second point is that there was big enough space for that, and the third point was that there was metal rods going through the wing design. And of course, if we make any changes, we'll be sure to let you guys know. And I don't believe there is anything there. There may need to be. I need to double check if there is something going through the neck. But that's sort of what we wanted to address.
All right. Okay, next question from Lachelle Diaz. How much does this bad boy weigh?
Well, I think that one, my friend, is over to you, Sir Chox.
All right.
Why don't you let Lachelle know?
Shall we do? Well, this is at the point where we start doing the
You might as well just answer the question first, and then
yeah?
we can because I'm trying to be honest with you, put this off because I know I'm going to have to measure him height-wise, at least can-wise, and
well,
I'm trying to avoid that.
All right. So I'll start off. We're going to do that
eventually. Anyway, exactly.
Yeah, anyway, so the weight for this Meta Ridley is 6.48 kg. 6.48 kg.
Okay. Yeah. So
the base and the
physical height, a lot of it is to do with the wings, right? So actually itself, because he's quite thin, he doesn't actually have a lot of thickness to him. Yeah, right. But still, I think for something like that, there's a lot of that is I'm actually quite.
It's a decent way of it, because obviously, we've got to consider, part of the engineering and consideration during the design is we cannot make these wings heavy.
Right.
Because of the structural metal pole going in there, and obviously some materials do warp over time, so a lot of it we've got to consider is like to make it as light as possible without adding more weight to it.
Sure.
And then
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right. Put it off long enough, Chox. Let's do this.
All right.
Guys, this is 330 ml cans that we are using to compare this test to. I'm a little bit concerned.
We haven't done this before this video, so this is on the fly.
On the fly. Okay.
Yeah, it's relatively straight so far. No, that one's a bit tilted.
It is.
One, yeah.
It's a little bit tilted.
Oh, it's tilting back.
It is. Chucks, we have a problem.
Well, we don't want a can.
We do not have anywhere near enough cans.
Alright, so that's
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Up to here is around about 7.
This is 7,
I would
right?
say 8 and a bit.
Possibly, yeah. I would say so.
Yeah,
8 and a bit. And now these are 330 ml cans. So to be clear, for our American family, you guys are normally usually used to 355, maybe.
Yeah.
So just to bear that in mind, if you ever to try your own test, that it will be different to this. But wow, Chucks, that's a first. That's a first. Not enough cans. Not enough cans. Not enough cans. So, Chucks, put me out of my misery. How high, how tall is this beast?
Right. From the bottom of the base, okay, from the bottom of the base, all the way to the highest point here, I have that at 37 inches. That is 94 centimeters. All right,
Chucks, can we please add some, 6 centimeters worth of something underneath, and let's hit the 1M.
Right, so that's 37 inches, 94 cm. Okay, from the bottom of the base to the highest point, tip of the wing. For the width, wow. Think of this as a square shape. So this point is the widest point, where Alex's hands are, the claw, the right arm, to this area. All right, so obviously, if you have, if this is on top of the shelf or something, the only thing you have to worry about is this wing itself. I have that 33 inches wide, so that's 84 centimeters.
Now here's an interesting thing, Chucks. That's monstrous. However, the overhang and the height of the wing actually means you could actually put.
Something else here.
I was actually going to think. I do believe for comparison we have a Varia suit.
Yeah.
So we can actually probably see whether or not it could actually fit underneath and shade. It's a sun. It's a rainy day.
Yeah.
Let me give you a bit of cover.
Definitely.
So actually, you know what? That actually works out all right. That the fact that he's so tall and the wing comes up so high over that it actually means that you don't have to allow for that much in your display to cover it.
Well,
Let's
continue, and then because I'm going to give you measurements for the actual base itself.
Sorry,
as well. For the depth, okay, you want to take on its side, for example, like that. For the depth, I measured it from. I'm so sorry, Meta Ridley.
God! And the world went in slow motion.
So apologies. So from the front of the beak to the back of the tail.
I recently bought a Fitbit, right, for Christmas, right? It measures my heart rate.
Well,
I'm going to go back and see whether or
at
not
this
I
point
like
in time. Good job was doing a crime chop there, very gently. So from this bit to this bit here.
How about I do this section, right? Let me put my hand here.
Okay. So this back of the tail.
Yowzers.
That's 22 inches.
Okay.
So that's 56 centimeter. All right. 22 inches, 56 centimeter. Okay. Now the interesting bit is here, the base. From this side to that side, because this is pretty much perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect.
From that side and this side is 12.5 inches by 12.5 inches.
That's all right.
So that's 32 centimeters by 32 centimeters.
Nicely fit on top of a vest.
Right. So this
or a Dettol.
So actual space footprint of the actual base isn't that big at all.
Right.
So if you've got other statues around it, just making sure that whether it's a 1/6 statue or a quarter scale statue, it will fit So maybe on this side, because the wing's low, you might want to put a 1/6 figure statue. And on this side, because the wings are going vertical, you might want to put a quarter scale statue.
In fact, let's have a play with that. We have a few things we can
do
compare
that with
with
a comparison shot.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's absolutely great. Excellent. Wow, okay. Well, initially, obviously when I first sat down, I was like, holy. But then the practicalities of having it as part of the collection, actually it's... No, okay, fair. Holy moly!
I'm sure a lot of collectors will have a lot of fun rearranging their collection to complement.
Hashtag he's worth it.
Yeah, definitely.
We can't wait to see the collection shots when you guys get him.
Yeah. Right. Shoutouts. Right. So I was saying earlier on, if you're in a collectors club and if you manage to find this post where the making of documentary post, in there I will randomly put a comment saying, first 10 people to reply to that comment will get a shout out from Alex. And we managed to get 10 members.
Let's do it. Now let's say shout out to you, my friend. We've got Martin Angel. Jeremy Pearson, what's going on, mate? We have Vincent Vindish, how you doing? I know he's a big Metroid fan. We've got Femke Hodes Tavain. How you doing? Howard V, what's going on? We got a double James. We've got James B and James Thomas. Congrats on your shout outs. We have Cassandra Bennington. I like it. Power couple there. And Patrick Rabensteiner. Boom. Done. Lemon squeezy.
Right, good.
So, Chocks, of course, this is the standard version of Meta Ridley. What you see is what you get. This is how it looks. The beautiful wingspan, the aggressive attacking pose, the ferociousness of him, the way it all comes out. This is what happens, and it's the standard version. This will be available on our website, also be available hopefully at your local retailer as well. If not, ask them to get it for you in. But we also have a different version as well, Chocks, and that is the exclusive version, and that is only available on our site. Now, if you've been very, how shall I say it, observant, you would have noticed that on the back of this base, as we have been turning it around, there is a little black sort of, I should say, button there. And the reason we have that is because the exclusive version has quite a nifty little feature that really, how shall I say it, carries on to any of our other exclusive versions in our Metroid series, and of course that is in 3, 2, 1. Boom! Now this is really sharp, bright studio lights, but take a look at this. His chest, 4 orbs, and his eyes, they light up and they're looking really, really good. Check that out. Now again, Ting, would you please do me a favor and overlay some imagery, some videos of how those lights come on in a darkened environment. It looks great when it's in the dark. Now, that is something that we have incorporated. There's a lot of electronics that have to go through the base. It feeds up through the peg into the chest, and of course then, and this is the difficult part here, Chops, that neck is thin. We have to fit wires that go through here and up and into the neck itself and into the head there, and it's really quite difficult to do that.
So there's no separate piece, is that right?
Well, at least the wires itself needs to go through and feed through all the pieces. Whether or not we actually, if we have it sticking in, it's still going to involve wires. Whatever happens, it still involves wires that go through it. Whether or not there's a separation at the connection joint or not, that's a different conversation. But at least there has to be castings of wires through there. So there is a degree of difficulty when we're having to make sure that the exclusive version lights up accordingly. Now, something else I wanted to bring your attention to, and Chocks as well. You know this. The standard and exclusive, both of them have this. It's quite a subtle way, and it's been quite tricky. But there's a little bit of glow in the dark powder that's been actually cast into the wings themselves. It's quite a subtle effect, Chocks. I'm going to be honest with you. It's the nature of it was quite a difficult thing because we had to give that beautiful white effect going across, going like that. That the glow, I think the effect isn't as strong as we want it to be. We'll look into that at the production stage, but maybe this is the best that we can get it in terms of, I mean, obviously it's really difficult to sort of see that in this lighting, but it's something that you have to sort of see in the dark itself, sort of in person. So it lasts, not as long as we'd like it to last for, and we'll definitely be looking into seeing what we can do with that. It's what I'll, it's all sort of I can really sort of say about that at this stage. But it's definitely a nice little touch just to give him the extra sort of luminosity that he should have. Now, if you actually look at the game, the actual wings themselves light up. Now, that's not possible to get that kind of even flow of lights into something so thin without, especially not seeing dots of LEDs. So we wanted to therefore have that glow in the dark effect to really have the kind of nod towards that, to sort of recognize that Meta Ridley, of course, does have lights in his wings in the actual game that can't be sort of done here. So yeah, that's really wanted to show you. So yeah, boom, the exclusive version, both eyes light up, has this great look in the dark, and the chest itself, those lights there as well. And there you go, exclusive version.
Nice.
And I have to ask the question: is the height, is the size, and the weight and everything exactly the same as the standard?
The same. It should be the same. Yeah.
All right.
And
cool.
That is just the stature. The measurements and the waist is just based on the stature. Obviously, with extra packaging.
Oh, sure.
That's going to add much more weight to it as well.
Yes. Yeah. So when you consider shipping, of course, you have to consider that it has all the packaging as well.
Yeah.
All right. I believe we have one more question then, Jocks.
One more question from Alessio Bucci. Can you show us a comparison with the other Metroid statues you made?
It would be my absolute honor and pleasure, and we're going to show you that in 3, 2, 1. Boom! Check it out, guys. This has always been the dream, Chocks. Meta Ridley versus Samus Varia suit, Metroid Prime, recreate that. Bada bing, bada boom. Look at that scaling.
At long last.
Long last.
How many years before they managed to
lift that up? Have a look. What does it say? What's the?
Really?
Yeah, it's my number one, isn't it?
I think it's your number one.
What does it say the day was? 2000 and what? 2007, baby. 10 years.
2007.
12 years.
No, it's more than that. It's more than 10 years.
12 years. It's 13 years. Because obviously that's when it came out.
That's when it came out.
It probably went up in 2006.
Oh my god. As a long.
He's been resuscitating. He's been resuscitating. But wow. Wow. Okay. So now we're talking. Look at the scaling between that. Always envisaged seeing this next to each other, and Jocks, what do you reckon?
Yeah, it's exactly how it should be, scale wise.
Now, of course, this is what's quite interesting. Of course, this is the first in our Metroid series of villains, the Metroid villains.
Metroid.
That's not necessarily Prime or anything. We're just calling it the villain series, right?
Yeah.
But can you imagine a Kraid the size of the? And again, it's nice that this one I had the foresight in 2006, 2007 to make him much smaller, so we could have the scaling where it's a bit more typical in nowadays market. I mean, this is beast. It's big. No, don't get me wrong. It's beastly for now, but it would have been almost unheard of at this time. This era of our history, you're almost unheard of making it this size, and it would have been a disservice to do a mini Meta Ridley, right? So, I mean, hopefully you guys can really see and appreciate how they look together. I hope you guys agree. It looks really, really good next to each other. Doesn't it look just awesome, Jocks?
Yeah. You need to take some photos.
Absolutely.
To take some photos.
Absolutely. All right, cool. Well, I think we should actually show some more pictures as well, Jocks, just to sort of see them side by side. some from the others in the Metroid range. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Why don't we show that in 3, 2, 1. Check it out, guys. This is I feel really proud seeing this, Chucks. How about you? I mean,
yeah.
it just looks great, right? Now, we talked a little bit about before. Let's just quickly go through it all. OG, original Samus Varia suit right here. And then over here we have Varia suit 1/4 from Metroid Prime 2. Obviously, we have Meta Ridley here. Chucks?
Yep. Light suit. Yeah, again, quarter scale.
Yep.
Gunship.
Now, we talked about this before, Chocks, about the footprint of Meta Ridley is monstrous, but actually, you talked about how the base itself is about 12 inches tall. It actually doesn't have much footprint.
Yeah.
So look how closely you can display the light suit next to Meta Ridley. And we tested this both out off camera, both Varia suit and light suit. They're both they both fit nicely underneath the wing.
So like the Varia suit is slightly taller than the light suit, so it's still well within the
and that's with the bases really quite close to each other there. And if you gave a little bit more gap, it'd be even more. And I'm sure the light suit appreciates any protection from the rain. Very nice, thank you very much. I didn't realise that Meta Ridley was so helpful. Maybe he's just very misunderstood.
Yeah, misunderstood. I'm not a villain.
Right. So maybe we changed the line. The title. Stop me now, Shocks. So there you have it, guys. This is just some of our Metroid range. I mean, there is also some others as well. And what's clear, Meta Ridley is an awesome addition to any Metroid collection. We really hope that you have enjoyed this video, the presentation, and understanding some of the design choices, having a better idea of how Meta Ridley might potentially fit your collection. And we would love to hear from you. You know, please comment below, let us know. Come into the group.
Yeah.
Make sure you tell us who else would you like to see in the Metroid villain series. I know I can think of a few that I would love to see. I would love to see things like Mother Brain, maybe an actual one-to-one Metroid itself. I mean, it is the name of the game, I would say.
Definitely.
All right, Chucks, anything you want to add before you wrap this one up?
That is all. I mean, do give us a thumbs up with the video if you're a Metroid fan. If you know any other Metroid fans, do share this video out. Let them all know that we do have a range, and hopefully with more support for the Metroid line, more upcoming Metroid products will come. Yeah, more support, more products.
Absolutely. Can't do it without you guys. All right, Chucks, that's another one done.
It's a longer reach this time.
I'm your host, Alex.
I'm Jockles.
F4F is love.
F4F is life.
And we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Laters.